At LawHer, we're supporting you in claiming your rightful place at the top. As women in law, we know the challenges and triumphs of breaking barriers and shattering glass ceilings, and no one does it alone. Join me at PIMCon in Scottsdale, Arizona from September 15th to 17th for PIMCon, the inaugural Personal Injury Mastermind Conference. This is your chance to network with titans in the legal industry, conquer your law firm's marketing, and go from good to go. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to elevate your practice and connect with like-minded, ambitious women in the field like Season 1 guests Jen Gore and Sarah Williams. Tickets are limited, so secure your all-access pass today by heading to pimcon.org. That's PIMCON.org. I'll see you there.
And I decided that I was done playing small. I was done struggling with one assistant, two assistants. I was ready to start having associates. I gave myself 10 years. I wanted to get to 30 team members, 5 million gross annually.
Coaching has seasonality to it. I don't know that you should be with the same coach for 5 years, 10 years. There should be a growth aspect to it.
All of us think that we're the only ones struggling. And the only way to get through that is by connecting with others who are in similar situations and have the same questions, have the same fears, have the same feelings, and how to talk those through, because the facts will always help us debate the feelings.
For the 8th consecutive year, women outnumber men in law schools across the nation. Yet this wave of change has not reached the shores of power. Women hold a mere 25% of seats at the table as board members and managing partners. But the tides are turning. Women in law are no longer meekly waiting for an invitation. They are boldly striking out, creating a future where success is defined on their own terms, and law firms fit into their lives, not the other way around. As this new generation of trailblazers rises, we stand with them, ready to amplify their voices and fuel the transformation. This is LawHer. I am Sonia Palmer, your host and VP of Operations at Rankings, the SEO agency supporting you in claiming your rightful place at the top. This season, we're thrilled to present our new miniseries, Launching Her Firm, where we follow the journeys of women attorneys in the early days of opening their own practices. Be inspired by their stories as they navigate the challenges of securing clients, managing finances, hiring staff, and achieving work-life balance as founders. Today, we're joined by Abigail Molina, a trailblazing immigration attorney who's built a thriving practice from the ground up. Abigail's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, ambition, and embracing growth. In this episode, we'll explore how Abigail overcame imposter syndrome and made the bold decision to stop playing small. In 2020, she created a 10-year growth plan to reach 30 team members and $5 million in revenue by 2030. This year, she has a team of 15, is hitting $2 million in revenue, and is on track to hit the 10-year goal 3 years early. We'll delve into the challenges she faced along the way, from bar discipline to balancing motherhood with her career, and a topic that never gets enough traction, perimenopause. Let's dive in.
First of all, I never wanted to be an attorney. So I just fell into being a legal assistant because I had eloped with someone who I knew for like 2 months and I needed a job. So I lucked out and got an amazing job with an immigration attorney. And I never knew anything about immigration law. And then after working there, like my very first week, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So took a long journey through a very bad marriage. Long story short, marrying somebody that you've known for 2 months is not a great idea. So 3 years of a very bad marriage. He told me I should go to law school, and I knew that I would not have the support that I needed to get through law school. So I didn't do that. And then in my second marriage, as soon as we got married, he was like, why aren't you an attorney? Why don't you go to law school? And so 7 years after being a legal assistant, I decided it was time to go to law school. So once I graduated, the job market was not great. I took a job that was pretty good, but just I wasn't happy. So about a year into it, I decided to go out on my own. And that was now 13 years ago, and haven't looked back.
Can you tell us about the move to the Texas border and what prompted that decision?
Yeah. So my husband and I, our faith is really important to us. And so we, during my third year of law school, we started feeling like we weren't supposed to be in the town that we were in, which was weird because we had like a house and I had only applied to that law school because we were not going to move. And so considering a move across country from Oregon to Texas was just like so far out of character for us. But we started praying about where we were supposed to be and really felt like we were supposed to be at the border, which turned out to be an amazing experience as an immigration attorney, being exposed to so many different people coming through the southern border, working in the detention centers, just having that kind of experience right from the start as an attorney, like was just so impactful. So yes, it was pretty crazy. It was during the housing market crisis, and we put our house on the market. We had put like $60,000 into a fixer upper and ended up short selling it for so much less than it was worth. But at that time, it wasn't worth anything. So we did that and moved across country, sold everything. We've basically done that twice now, selling everything that we had. And you learn from that like stuff is replaceable and the stuff that you buy is never worth what you bought it for. So be careful how much you pay for things. That was an expensive lesson.
It sounds like you're good at sort of recognizing when something's not right. You knew you weren't going to have a support system. You were not in the right location. That's I don't know if that's a skill or something that's developed, but an important thing to have in life.
I've never thought about it that way, but I think you're right. And I think that part of it is like I have kind of a critical, like my criticism is very well honed. So I think I see the negative right away. But I think I'm also kind of in many ways naive and optimistic because like when I started my law practice, I was like, well, I've been a legal assistant and now I'm an attorney and how hard can it be that's like the reoccurring phrase that I find myself saying, how hard can it be? And so when we decided to move back to Oregon, I'd had my law practice for like little over 5 years. I was like, well, I started a law practice where I knew nobody and now I'm going back where I know everybody. How hard can it be to start again? Well, it's starting all over again and you have to like market and the people that knew me didn't need my services. And then I was like, how hard could it be to start a nonprofit? And so you end up getting it way in over your head because you way underestimate how difficult things are.
I don't know. I think I like that though, to be optimistic at the beginning, but then no, you know what? That was maybe not the right decision and then change it, do something different. So I like that. I think that's better than being negative and never trying anything or being too apprehensive. So a lot of trial and error, I imagine.
That's true. Yeah. And I think if, COVID taught us anything, the pivoting portion of it, like the importance of being able to pivot quickly. I think that's definitely a skill I've had to hone.
Yes, absolutely. All of us. What inspired you to pursue a career in immigration law specifically?
Mm-hmm. I knew that I liked working with people from around the world and I liked, social work type things. And the thing that I love the most is hearing people's stories and, where they're from and what their life was like, why they want to come to the U.S. Sometimes I ask, really, are you sure you want to be here at this point in history? Like there is some very interesting things happening right now that even I myself question, like, do I want to stay here in the U.S.? But just hearing from people's perspective, like what their view of America is and what their American dream is, helps me remember, yeah, this is a pretty cool place that we have here. I always ask, like, why was I born on this side of the border instead of the other side of the border? And what are these borders that are just like imaginary lines? Like somebody's born, 2 feet away and they have certain rights and somebody else doesn't. So that's always been something that's frustrated me, challenged me. But also, I love hearing, and also you hear a lot of love stories because love brings people together around the world. And like, how did you meet and how did you fall in love? I mean, the world is such a smaller place now because of the internet. And I think that's amazing.
You certainly took a unique path to founding your own firm. Let's dive into how you've built your practice and the importance of seeking help along the way. So many female attorneys think that they can or should just do it all themselves. At what point did you realize that you needed help to grow your firm, and how did you go about finding that right support?
I think we all assume that everybody else has it together except us, or at least that's kind of was my reoccurring thought is like, well, I don't want to ask the question because then it'll give it away that I really don't know what I'm doing. People think you know what you're doing because you have your own business, but we're all just trying to figure it out and just figuring it out as we go. And so I was just like doing it the hard way for so many years and thinking, okay, I've got to just figure this out. Certainly it can't be that hard. Again, that recurring thing, but why am I struggling so much? And so then I started realizing, oh, there are books on topics that I could read or listen to because I hate like reading the physical books. So I started listening to books, audiobooks, and on business and leadership. Then I started posting things in Facebook groups because I started seeing that other people were asking the same questions. So it started feeling safer to ask questions like, oh, I'm not the only one struggling with this. Like these are common struggles. So you start feeling more comfortable asking the difficult questions. And then as I was asking questions, a friend of mine was like, hey, you're asking these questions. And I think that you would be helped by this coaching group. And so through that, I got exposed to coaching. I'd never really understood this world of coaching that's now like exploded, and how important it is to be able to have someone from the outside looking in to say, hey, maybe try this fix, or, because you might just be spinning in your head about something and you can't get past it. Somebody from the outside can, like they say, like the instructions to your box are on the outside. So you have to have somebody looking in. And so from that, started discovering the importance of coaching. And I've spent like probably way too much on coaching, but it's definitely an investment that pays off. As long as you get the right coaches, something that's a good match. I think what I've had to learn is that not everybody's a good match for me. And instead of adapting myself to them, like there's somebody out there that's going to be a match for each person. So you have to find them.
When you're owner, when you're CEO, when you're lead attorney, just the outside perspective, right? Because it's so close to you. It's so close to home. It's your business. It's your livelihood. So having just that outside perspective of someone who has other experience can offer so much insight. I also think coaching has seasonality to it. I don't know that you should be with the same coach for 5 years, 10 years. There should be a growth aspect to it. So finding the right person, setting goals, fulfilling that can be extremely valuable in a business. What advice would you give to female attorneys who are hesitant to delegate tasks or seek help in their practice?
Man, this is a hard one, I think, for so many women because we're used to doing it all ourselves. And we feel like if we delegate, it's never going to be done the way that we want. And so the first step is just accepting that everybody does things their own way, and everybody has their own strengths. And I think some of it too is an ego check. Like, just because I put the dishes in a certain way doesn't mean that my husband puts them in wrong. It just is different. And so to be able to say that I want to delegate something in order to relieve myself of these tasks, like I have to find somebody else to do them. And that means trusting somebody to do them. But I always say trust and train, and train and trust. So it starts with training, like how do you want it done specifically, step by step, and not assuming that somebody knows, to give the dishwasher. I hired actually a personal assistant who I assumed she knew how to load a dishwasher. Turned out her parents had never, she's young, she's in college. Her parents had never required her to load a dishwasher. So she didn't know how. And so to accept that and to not assume that she knew how was the first mistake that I made. And then step by step, okay, here's how you load a dishwasher. Do you need a written instruction? Do you need a video? Do you need like to, have me watch you do it? So you have to figure out like how somebody learns how to do something, and then make sure that your instructions are clear, and then trust them that they're actually going to load the dishwasher properly. And if it's not like exactly how you wanted it, did the dish get clean? Yes, it did. So that the end result is what's most important, not how to get to that result. But it requires like releasing that control. It's still important to have some controls in place so that you have like the quality that you want, and the end result is what you want. But once you give those instructions, like I love seeing how everybody has different approaches to things. So if I let go of the control of something, somebody's going to find something that's better than me. And sometimes it's hard to admit that, but how much better can our organization be if we just let people do the things that they're good at and find the better ways to do things?
Yes, we talk a lot about micromanaging via a checklist. And I like, what's the goal here? Is the goal to load the dishwasher exactly the way that you want it? Or is the goal to get the dishes clean? Even if you might do it in a way that I think is weird, to not micromanage via those checklists. How has building a team contributed to your firm's success, and what challenges did you face during that process?
So we started growing our team around the pandemic. Actually, right before the pandemic, I went away for a week and I decided that I was done playing small. I was done just like struggling with one assistant, two assistants. I was ready to start having associates. So I set a growth plan by 2030. I gave myself 10 years. I wanted to get to 30 team members, 5 million gross annually. And so I said that was about the time that I started coaching and start trying to figure out a path forward to that goal. And so I started realizing that like if I wanted to get to the number of cases that I wanted, I needed to have a quality team. And so I went through several years of not doing very good hiring because I was like hiring emotionally. I would see somebody that reminded me of me and like, oh, I believe in you. You can do this. It wasn't a good fit for them. Learning how to be an employer is like a whole different thing, and learning how to, coach people and find the right fit. So it took several years of trial and error of trying to build a team. Now we're at 15 and half of us are remote. So I'm halfway to my 2030 goal. I think we'll get there much sooner than 2030. But what I've learned along the way is, how important it is to find the right people and put them in the right places. And I think that that's become one of my superpowers, actually, because I love getting to know somebody. What is it that they love to do? What is it that fires them up? What is it that they're good at? And also is a need in our organization. So because we're small still and we're growing, many people have different hats. So we have like one woman who she came in as a receptionist, but then I found out she's a graphic designer. And so she ended up like doing our logo, and now she does all of our marketing. And then she started doing sales, and now she's like really good at sales. And so the difficulty with her, she's so multi-talented. It's like she's kind of getting too spread too thin. But I love that she loves her job because she's doing what she's good at and she's released to do those things. So I love finding what people, what their superpowers are and releasing them to do those things.
What resources or support systems have been most valuable in helping you achieve those goals or have kept you on track?
I think definitely coaching, surrounding myself by other entrepreneurs who are on the same path and watching their growth. It's never linear. It's always all over the place. So it's up, it's down, learning how to get numbers. Like so much of my failure was based on feeling. Like it feels like we need to hire somebody, or it feels like this person is not being productive. Well, where's the numbers to support those feelings? Because feelings are so fickle. Like I just started Orange Theory. And one thing I love about that kind of exercise is that it's based on your heart rate, which is based on a monitor. So it's based on all these numbers. And you can feel like you're really working out, but the numbers aren't going to lie. And one day might feel harder than the next, but your heart rate is going to respond the same. And so having those numbers is so important to be able to base decisions on. And without those numbers, like you're just making decisions based on feelings, and feelings are going to change day to day.
Abigail's insights on using data to validate or invalidate our feelings resonated deeply. It's a powerful tool for managing our emotions and decision-making in high-pressure environments like law. But I wanted to dig deeper into something Abigail mentioned earlier, her decision to stop playing small and aim for bigger goals. Many women in law and in professional fields generally grapple with imposter syndrome or feel pressured to downplay their ambitions. I was eager to understand how Abigail overcame this mindset and embraced the idea of growth and expansion.
I think you get to levels in your life where you're comfortable and you're ready for the next challenge. I'm an Enneagram 3, so I'm driven. And so I'm always going to be looking for a challenge. And I think that once I had been practicing law, so by 2020, I had been practicing law about a decade, and I was, I enjoyed it. I like being in the courtroom, but I started realizing that like, this is eventually going to get old, and I need a new challenge. And so that became like, how do I grow now a business? How do I turn this law practice into a business and hopefully one day be able to walk away from it less and less? I'm still like really entrenched in it. So walking away is still hard, but the goal is to like how to develop a team so that they can be, doing the day to day in the courtroom, and how to find people that are excited about being in a courtroom. Right now we have, there's 3 of us attorneys. One of them hates being in the courtroom, and one of them really really loves just research and writing. And so each of them have strengths that I don't have. And I have strengths that they don't have. And so how do we all come together as a team to do that? But there's always going to be imposter syndrome. Like I said in the beginning, I think all of us think that we're the only ones struggling. And the only way to get through that is by connecting with others who are in similar situations and have the same questions, have the same fears, have the same, feelings, and how to talk those through. Because like we're saying, the facts will always help us debate the feelings. And if the fact is that, like, yeah, this situation sucks right now, you're going to get through it. You always get through it. Like, that is a mantra that always settles me whenever I'm feeling anxious, is like, it's going to work out. It always works out. It's worked out in the past. Like, it's going to work out. So just that reminder of, I've gotten through so many challenging things, and what I'm facing right now is like, I already have what's inside of me that I need to do to tackle this.
At LawHer, we're supporting you in claiming your rightful place at the top. As women in law, we know the challenges and triumphs of breaking barriers and shattering glass ceilings, and no one does it alone. Join me at PIMCon in Scottsdale, Arizona from September 15th to 17th for PIMCon, the inaugural Personal Injury Mastermind Conference. This is your chance to network with titans in the legal industry, conquer your law firm's marketing, and go from good to go. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to elevate your practice and connect with like-minded, ambitious women in the field like Season 1 guests Jen Gore and Sarah Williams. Tickets are limited, so secure your all-access pass today by heading to pimcon.org. That's PIMCON.org. I'll see you there. Excellent advice. Hope is like the great defeater of anxiety. Just there's a light at the tunnel. You've reached it before, you'll reach it again.
Yes.
Let's talk about learning from mistakes. Thinking big and staying confident is crucial for success, but we all face setbacks and make mistakes along the way. You've mentioned that past mistakes have actually shaped your journey in a positive way. You mentioned that past mistakes like bar discipline have shaped you and brought you to where you are. Can you share more about that experience and what you learned from it?
Yeah. I think bar discipline for an attorney is like the ultimate anxiety inducer. Like, we are taught that, your license can be taken away in an instant. And it's not necessarily an instant. Now that I've experienced bar discipline, I know that there is due process. There's a procedure that the bar will go through, but one wrong decision can set you on that course. And while you're on that course, the ultimate consequence could be losing your license. My takeaway from it was, number one, I got an attorney, and that attorney showed me how valuable it is to have an attorney. Because I think sometimes we get into our work and we're like, oh, this is easy work. Anybody can do this. Like, I was an attorney, but I didn't know how to represent myself to the bar. I didn't know how to explain what had happened or, the reasoning behind it. I needed somebody who was not an emotional wreck, who was not a ball of anxiety, to be able to present my case to the bar. And so from that, I learned like how valuable it is, the work that attorneys do. I also learned that I did not want to lose my license, because at one point I was like, this is too expensive. I can't keep fighting this. Like, I'm just going to give up. And fortunately, my attorney was like, please don't do that. Like, we're, so close. This is going to end okay. I finally had to pull some resolve out and say, like, no, I love being an attorney. I do not want to lose my license, and whatever it takes, I'm going to do this. So through the process of probation and the discipline, I was able to get some really key skills that I didn't have before, because when we go to law school, we're not taught how to run a business. So things around trust accounting or client interactions, like, we're told, like, don't mess up your trust account, but we're not giving an accounting class on how to actually do the trust accounting. So, spoiler alert, my discipline was around a trust account, and it is so easy to mess that stuff up if you're, a penny off. So this is stuff that I think many attorneys are doing wrong. Like, that was one thing my attorney said, is like, trust me, so many attorneys are doing this wrong, and they're just haven't been caught yet, or it hasn't blown up on them. And so hearing that again, like, other people are struggling with this. This is not just me, because we can spiral in our heads like, this is just me. I'm just dumb. I can't figure this out. At the end of the day, we're not accountants. So getting the help that I needed, hiring the people that I needed, we have no business. We have to monitor our books, but we have no business actually doing the day-to-day bookkeeping. And so I was forced to get a bookkeeper and forced to get accounting software. But when I started, like, I didn't even realize that there was software to support. And so learning how to utilize technology and pay for it, like it's not cheap. But these are things that help us to do our business.
Yeah, here on the show, we hear over and over and over again just how law school teaches you how to practice law. It does not prepare you how to run a business or a law firm. It does not prepare you to use new technology, to vet technology. So I think that's a super important piece. And then get the people that were trained to do it. Like you said, hire the people that are the experts to make sure that stuff gets taken care of. I also like what you said there because I do think a benefit to making a mistake is often clarity. You kind of learn how you really feel about something. So it's not all negative.
Yeah, there's so many benefits to making mistakes and to failing. And I think that word failure has such a negative connotation, especially like people in law school. Like, we do not fail. Like, we are winners. We are bred to succeed. We are overachievers. We do not fail. But this concept of failing forward, where you can like learn more through the failure than you did through the success, it really causes you to sit back and say, okay, what went wrong? Like, we just missed a deadline in our office, and the attorney who missed the deadline, she called me and she was crying and so sorry, like, this is what happened. We were like maybe a week in responding to a request. And so I just said, okay, calm down. Like, everything works out. It will work out. Even if we have to refile it and eat the filing fees, whatever we have to do, like, we will work it. It'll work out. Then ended up accepting it as late and it was fine. But through that, we realized, like, how did we miss this? Okay, these were some of the holes in our processes. And so being able to use that failure as so that we don't repeat that again was more beneficial than if it had gone right.
Navigating setbacks and learning from mistakes is a key part of an attorney's journey, but one unique challenge for women is staying in the legal field. Women often leave the profession earlier than their male counterparts. Abigail has managed to build a thriving practice while staying in the game. I was curious to learn more about her motivations.
Yeah, I definitely would be lying if I said I never thought about quitting. And I'm not surprised to hear that women step out more often than men. I think probably more for family responsibilities, because that's a whole nother subject, we haven't even touched on. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and you feel this push and pull, or this, even though my husband's super supportive, you still feel like the burden of caring, like you want to care for your family. And so I could see, I think it would have been easier to step out and be like, okay, I'm just going to be a full-time mom, or I'm going to, do something a little bit less demanding. I think what's kept me in the game, partly out of necessity, I've been the primary breadwinner for our family for at least the last decade. So partly out of necessity, just staying in it. But also just that I think I just have kind of the tenacity, like, I'm not going to quit. Like, you can shoot me down, you can throw all this stuff at me, but I'm going to rise again. And yeah, I think that that's just one of my core values is I'm going to figure out a way, and there's got to be a way. It can't be that hard.
I think you're absolutely right. I do think that women leave more because of the family. The series that this is a part of is Owning Her Firm. And I think I want to encourage in the show is just, instead of leaving the field, start your own firm, because there is more flexibility there. It's still hard work. It's like a different type of hard work, but you have way more flexibility and autonomy to raise your family or any other pursuits in addition to being a practicing lawyer.
We had been trying to conceive for years. And then when I started my practice, I got pregnant like 5 months later. And I was like, this is the worst timing ever. Like, why now? I didn't even have like insurance or anything. And when she was born, I was like, this is the perfect time. Like, I had all the, the flexibility, and I could bring my baby to work, and not many places you can do that. So I definitely think that it's challenging. I think that women do a disservice to other women by saying, oh, it's so easy and you can just do some contract work. And like, no, like, everything kind of has to fall into place and the stars align. and which I feel like is what happened to me to make it work out. I really feel like there was divine intervention in my start to my practice. So I never want to, make it look like it is super easy, but it is definitely, unless you're in a position where your employer will give you that flexibility, it is definitely a way to build a life and a career that revolves around your family instead of your family having to accommodate for your career.
Absolutely. Staying in the legal profession for the long term requires not only passion and resilience, but also an awareness of the unique health challenges that women may face, such as perimenopause. You've mentioned that perimenopause is a topic that doesn't get enough attention. I would agree with that. What challenges have come up that were unexpected?
Yeah, I wish people would talk about this. I didn't have any clue until I started like finally reaching out for help, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is a thing." I felt like I was going to burn my life down in my mid 40s. Just mad at everybody, anxiety, like I'd never had anxiety before, and I started struggling with all these things. I was like, "What is going on in my body, in my mind?" I don't I wish, yeah. And so this is why I talk about it so much. I know that many people have different symptoms, but just this pervasive, like it's such a big part of our life. Like it's more than 10, sometimes 15 years of your life where your body's starting to transition, and there's help. Like I used to think like, oh, I don't want to go on medicine or I don't want to do this or that. But there are so many supplements out there now that can help ease this process and make you so you don't want to kill your husband and make you so you actually love your husband again. Like there are reasons. And I thought I just assumed it was because I was just tired of the bull anymore. Like I thought that I had just reached my limit, but it's actually like there's hormone stuff going on. So, and it makes sense, but at the time you're just like, you think you're going crazy, and you have to find the right healthcare providers to really help you through, because so many just traditional providers won't offer you the support that you need.
Yeah, because symptoms for perimenopause, similar to sort of like PMS, where you're tired, poor concentration, brain fog, or like you said, anxiety, sometimes depression that can be easily dismissed as a part of a demanding job or being a mom, and people don't pay attention to it. So yes, it's very much a thing. And I agree with you too. I think you always have to advocate for your own health, no matter what, seeing doctors and things, but advocating and sort of figuring out things on your own, developing your own plans, and then having a team that will support you is super important. What do you wish you had known about it? Just that there's treatment or that it was normal?
Yeah, I think I wish I would have known, because I think the way it was presented to me is like you have periods and then all of a sudden you have no periods, and that's menopause. And it was never explained to me that there's a whole part, just like the process leading up to starting your period. Like my daughter is turning 12 and she's getting ready to start her period soon, and it's been a process of like a couple of years of her body starting that transition. It's not overnight, and I think that that's what I assumed, is like it's just overnight, like one day your periods just stop. No, like, and you're not in menopause until you haven't had a period for 12 months straight. And so I've gone a couple of times where it's like 10 months, 11 months. Nope, here we are. We're still, here comes a period. So I wish that it's just, I'm glad that people are speaking out about it now. But I wish I would have known that it's a process. It started for me. I had a baby at 36. And I've only had one baby. So pretty much right after that is when perimenopause started for me. So I've been in it for like over a decade now. So yeah, I wish that I would have understood that. And it makes sense when you think about like I said, starting a period is not just overnight. So ending your periods is also not overnight.
Any benefits to going through perimenopause?
I think you stop. I hear this from a lot of women turning in their 40s. Like you stop caring so much about everyone opinion, and there's a bucket of fucks, and you like start, the bucket keeps getting smaller and smaller the older you get, and you just have less room to carry around these things. And so you start having to filter through, like, I just don't care about this anymore. Like I'm not going to get all upset about this anymore. And so you just start caring a lot less, because you're just tired and you have no more fucks left to give. So
What gives you the greatest hope and optimism for the future of women in the legal industry?
I love what we're seeing in our country, the response to recent politics, to Roe v. Wade, and all of the things around women and reproductive health. I love seeing the response that's been happening, and even like men that are like, wait a minute, like what is this trend that we're seeing, and is it our right to be passing laws about women's bodies? And so I love that I'm seeing a lot of young women fired up. There's fights to be fought in the political and legal world. And so that gives me hope.
As we wrap up our conversation with Abigail Molina, we're reminded of some powerful truths that can propel us forward in our careers. Let's remember that we're all figuring it out together. That nagging voice of imposter syndrome, it's not just you. Even successful attorneys like Abigail have felt it. By connecting with others and sharing our experiences, we can overcome these doubts together. Abigail's decision to stop playing small is a rallying cry for all of us. It's okay to think big, set ambitious goals, and pursue growth. Your practice, your career, your impact, they can all be bigger than you might initially imagine. Her journey also underscores the power of resilience. In the face of challenges from bar discipline to personal struggles, Abigail's tenacity shines through. Remember, it's not about avoiding mistakes, but about learning from them and coming back stronger. Abigail's success highlights the importance of embracing technology and outside expertise. In today's legal landscape, leveraging the right tools and surrounding yourself with skilled professionals can be game-changing. As you continue on your path in the legal world, whether you're considering starting your own firm or climbing the ranks in an established practice, carry these lessons with you. Your journey may not be linear, but with resilience, ambition, and the right support, you can create the career you envision. If you found this content insightful, inspiring, or it just made you smile, please share this episode with a trailblazer in your life. For more about Abigail, check out our show notes. And while you're there, please leave us a review or a 5-star rating. It really helps others discover the show. And I will see you next week on LawHer, where we'll shed light on how another of the brightest and boldest women in the legal industry climbed to the top of her fields. Until next time, stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep making waves in the legal industry. You've got this.